Good evening, everyone. How you doing tonight? Welcome to the North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project. We have a special guest tonight, Brother William Nighthawk from Nighthawk High Strangeness and Paranormal with Dennis and Gerald. They've been doing a lot of broadcasts Wednesday nights, Saturday, Sunday, the Paranormal Brew, Morning Brew. But without further ado, here is Brother William Nighthawk. What's going on?
Hey, how we doing, everybody? Sorry about it. I'm on my cell phone, so I'm sure I've had.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully
all that smoke, hopefully all that smoke hasn't messed you up out there where you live from Canada.
Oh no, man! Look at I'm going to show you the sky. Nope, no smoke here, but they can smoke out DC all they want, brother.
Yeah, they can smoke it all out. Yeah, they want to call it wildfires, but we know. I've talked to people, and a lot of people are saying it's direct energy weapons that were done. Some people are saying it was napalm dropped in multiple spots to do what it did, to be able to burn that hot and to spread that fast. Lightning does not make that happen. You just got to follow the science on that one.
Yeah, but to truthfully say something though about the wildfires out there in Canada and stuff, British Columbia especially, like 90% of that place is just toast. But using napalm is not anything new when it comes to firefighting in the wild, because what they do is they set up burn lines, and they pre-burn an area where the wind is blowing the fire, so that area can't catch on fire and keep on going. So that's nothing new really per se. It's a new way of doing it. Before they used to just put crews on the ground with like little flamethrowers and torches and stuff, and they'd do it that way. But now they just drop it from helicopters. So
my uncle. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's nothing new though, because the way they're doing it, they're not doing it the right way. They're making it worse on purpose, is from what I can see.
Yeah, makes sense. So my uncle back in the 80s was he was a fire jumper. He wasn't one that jumped out of the planes, but he was part of the ground crew that like walked around the fires and dug trenches and dug themselves out of the fires out in like Montana and Colorado. And he had some strange stories he told me that when I was younger. He's my uncle that took me to powwows and sweat lodges when I was a kid. So he kind of introduced me to the native heritage, because he kind of adopted the ways. And he actually did the sun dance where he hung from the tree with the bone in his chest. He has the scars on his chest still. So yeah, pretty cool stuff.
I got them too, man. I got them too. Yeah. But yeah, that's young men stuff, hanging from a tree. So, and technically we don't hang. Technically we don't hang from the tree. We dance and we sing the sacred songs, and then we try to separate ourselves by running against the ties to our chest or our back or wherever we choose to tie off from, and we try to rip ourselves from the tree, as a show of strength to the Creator. That's basically what we do. So
that's some incredible strength. So I know you've had a fair share of comings of unluckiness, if you want to talk about that, because I mean it's all kind of stems from the stuff you've been talking about lately. I think it's kind of like whatever powers that be, or they really got a hard on for you because you're putting out truth that they don't want out there. I mean, if you want to tell people what's been going on in your life, because I mean I feel bad for it sucks. It really does.
Well, let's put it this way. I've had to, with the help of a few people that have been really, really gracious, helping me out every month with my GoFundMe, my medical GoFundMe. You know, if it wasn't for them, I would probably not have anything. So, but the first thing was over $800 and some in repairs to our vehicle, the one that I use to get back and forth to all my medical appointments and stuff. And stuff like that. You figure, okay, well, it happens. It's an older vehicle, so you're going to have stuff happen. But no sooner than a week later, the brakes start going on it, and then the starter goes on it, and then this, that, and the other thing, and now we're back up to another $800 and some worth of repairs that I don't have, but I'm trying to work it out to get the repairs done. But then we have medical issues. I possibly had another stroke here this past weekend. I feel like I was really, really attacked really bad by the evil that's out there. And before I get any further into that, let me explain what I mean by the evil. The evil that I'm talking about, a lot of people say, oh, don't go into a haunted place and say this is demonic and that's demonic and da-da-da-da-da. Well, I'm just going to label it evil. Okay, and I'm going to leave it at that. You can decide whether it's demonic or not because you're all adults. But when I talk about the reptilian agenda and the actual interaction of the Dracos race of reptilians, and their bloodlines going from the kings and queens of around the world. The Queen of England, as a matter of fact, now King of England, which kind of makes sense, But that old bloodlines, all these old bloodlines, the Rockefeller bloodlines, the Rothschild bloodlines, all these old bloodlines going all the way back. Oh, look at that! There goes a couple deer. So beautiful. Man, nice. That makes it worth it.
Yeah.
Here.
Absolutely. Let's see.
Man, that makes it really worth it.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they're there. They're there. She's watching me. It's okay. Go on.
Tails.
They don't even care. They don't even care. There we go.
Okay.
Hey, Sugar Britches, how are you? I just, anyways, getting back to the whole bloodline thing, we're talking bloodlines that go all the way back to the Sumerian kings list. Okay, those kind of bloodlines. Okay, those ancient kind of bloodlines, and we all know that when we hear about the Sumerian kings list and the Sumerian tablets and all that, the first thing that comes to mind is the Anunnaki. Okay. And one connection one can make to a lot of the royalty and a lot of the privileged, and I use the air hyphens for that one, a lot of the privileged that don't like me talking, apparently, that get me banned off of this, that, and the other social networks. The Anunnaki tend to reproduce within their family, I should say. That's probably the most polite way to put it, other than saying they have incest and create children to carry on their royalty and their bloodline. Well, the kings and queens and other families that are in charge, the elitists that are in charge, and the royal families around the world that are in charge around the world do that very same thing. Okay? They pick out first cousins, second cousins, probably even sisters, or half sisters, to appropriate, offspring with and to keep that bloodline going. That is a reptilian trait too. A lot of the Dracos do that, and when you talk about the Dracos and all the other types of reptilian beings, some you got that are okay. They keep to themselves and don't bother anybody. They have the ability to shapeshift. They can take human form, but they can only sustain human form for so long until their energy gets drained. But yeah, it's a long thing. But when I start talking about it, they start really hammering me with this negativity stuff and send me like today. you know I get back from taking my wife down to a medical appointment, and we come back and the water pipe to the house breaks. Here it's after 6 o'clock. After 6 o'clock in the evening, most places are closed because we live out in God's country. We literally live out in the middle of nowhere. Um, we have a Dollar General where we live, and that's pretty much it, and a gas station. But it is what it is. But it's been that kind of last couple of weeks where every time this subject comes up, I get hammered with something new, and I just can't wait to see what's going to happen tomorrow. So I just, you know what I mean? It's one of them things. It's one of them things. It's like a soap opera, basically, as the trash can turns.
Yeah, it's like they see what else they can do. What else they can do to screw you over. But you recently re-upped your I know it's a podcast live stream, but either way I'm going to promote it anyway. You redid your GoFundMe. So if anybody wants to help, William Nighthawk's GoFundMe, it's on his Facebook page. It's in a bunch of groups. I'll repost it too. And if I can help any bit, I'll try to help you out as well, because I feel bad from the luck you've had like in the last 6 months. I mean, it's just been one thing after another. You just can't catch a break no matter what. I mean, and you live on a fixed income. Well, you live on a fixed income because you're a veteran, so you get disability. Yeah. You don't even, you can't work. So
right, yeah,
kind of screwy.
And yeah, but me, bullheaded me. I got underneath the house, crawling around and everything. Had my cane down there with me, killing the cobwebs out of the way. It was a mess. It was a mess. But my buddy's helping me out. John, he's a good guy. He's a Vietnam veteran too. So he's definitely a big blessing to me right now. So hopefully we'll get it fixed.
It's sickening.
But as you can see,
it's sickening that you gave your life for this. You risked your life for this country, and their way of paying you back is just by thanks, and the little bit of money you get every month. I mean, it really sucks that what you did to protect people, to keep us free, and that's that's your payback. Which on that side, the government, they need to step up their game for veterans.
Yeah, it is what it is. Everybody that's a military vet learns to deal with it. There's a lot of the things like when dealing with my cancer, military service won't even touch cancer. They outsource everything, and they've been outsourcing a lot more lately when it comes to cancer and like other types of diseases, whether it's Alzheimer's or dementia, that kind of stuff. They're even outsourcing diabetes for veterans now. So but it is what it is. We learn to deal with it, and we try to move on and try to do the best we can. So
there's a question for you, but I don't think it's catching anybody. I think this is done secretly, electronically, whatever, however it can be done covertly, it's being done,
Yeah. And it's getting to the point. Well, here, take this for instance. After I got off the show Sunday, okay, and I had to go on my cell phone like I am right now with you, Thomas, to talk to Gerald and Dennis on Sunday's broadcast. and I couldn't even get on Saturday. But to make a long story short, as soon as I got off the broadcast with Dennis and G Sunday morning, we get a bunch of black unmarked helicopters low flying over top of our house in formation. And I mean, we're talking, if they were 25 feet above the house, that might have been an exaggeration. But here they were, Apache helicopters, jet black, fully armed and fully loaded for bear, flying in formation with no markings on them whatsoever. Okay. Then, not only then, after that incident, and I came out of the house, and I just, I watched them as they flew past, off in the distance, heading, south. But I came out because I want them to know that I'm not one to be messed with. I don't, I'm not normal when it comes to the fear thing. Tom, I don't want to make it sound like I believe I'm invincible, because I'm
Well, I think I'm losing you.
not. I'm mortal. So many. There's so many times that I have come so close to death and stared death in the face that I just don't have that fear anymore.
Yep.
Because they're messing with somebody that really doesn't give a damn about himself. So,
yeah,
but
I agree with that.
I'm sitting out here. I'm sitting out here right now. Okay, I'm sitting out here right now, and I'm just sitting here relaxing, watching the wildlife, in the country, and sitting by the fire, and just trying my darndest to just kind of relax a little bit, So
yeah, there was a video you shared with me a while back. Was it Leonard Bruce or Richard Bruce on YouTube? Was that the channel?
Yeah,
right?
Richard Bruce.
Richard Bruce, he had a video of a lady that was a survivor of satanic ritual abuse from England, and she reclaimed account of seeing the Queen transform into a 10-foot tall reptilian lizard person, pretty much devouring another child, and then she transformed back like within minutes. I mean, it's crazy, and she lived to tell.
We're talking, Thomas. We're talking, brother. We're talking very, very evil beings. Okay, I don't want to call them people. Okay, because they're not people. Okay, and don't think for one instant that they're not borderline demonic either, because they eat children. They harvest adrenochrome, okay, from humans. They market humans like cattle, okay. They have been around. The Dracos have been around since the Sumerian Kings list, okay. I don't really want to say they're Anunnaki, but then again, there might be some kind of a connection with that, where they were like a creation from the Anunnaki, or a warring nation with the Anunnaki. I don't know, but the whole thing is the royal bloodlines, with their intermarrying within their families, and having offspring within their families, also at a point contaminates the bloodline. Okay, makes them ruthless. Okay, and makes them not really care about their subjects, that they rule over. And you see it all the time.
Yep, no compassion.
Yep, exactly. Which is, yeah. And we deal with it here too. In America, we all think we're free and all that, but we're not. When you're born into this country, you're given a social security number, okay? And on the back of that social security card is another number, okay? Not your social security number. The number on the back of your card is your process number, okay? It's whether you're in the elite, whether you're permitted to serve the country, whether you're subject to being poor or low income your whole life, depending on your bloodline is how they make that decision when you're born.
Yeah.
Okay. And it doesn't say mother and father on your birth certificates either. Okay. It says um, grantor and all that. And then if you look at the bottoms of your checks, if anybody ever wrote a check, and you know that line that you sign your name on every time to write a check, take a look at that line under a microscope or some kind of like jewelry loop, okay? Some kind of thing where you can magnify it several times and read what it says. A lot of people think that's a solid line on there, and it's not. It's actually a contract that you're signing when you put your initial on there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never realized that. I mean, honestly, with digital transactions now, like I think 60% of people don't even use checks anymore because it's all digital banking. I mean, half the banking I do from my phone now with transfers or my bank card to go to the drive up ATM, and I mean, checks are kind of like becoming outdated now. I mean, barely anybody has a checkbook anymore, and if you do, most people don't even know how to use checks. I mean, I'm gonna have to teach my kids how to use a checkbook when they get older because it's something that everyone needs to know what to do, as long as they're still, allowing us to use them. Shit. I mean, take advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah. They, the whole thing of the whole superior, elitist type of, reptilian agenda is to control us. Okay. And the powers that be want to control us. They're going to control us through what we buy, what we watch, what we eat, what we drink, the clothes we wear, the churches we go to. And in fact, that's another thing too. There was a while back, Richard Bruce and I talked briefly about something that happened in the Vatican. With one of the popes, and I think it was Pope John Paul, and how quickly they got rid of him. The Vatican has been infiltrated by the reptilian race also. You have your bishops and cardinals in there that are human, more from the third world countries, or the less advanced countries, I should say, less politically powerful countries like Brazil or Argentina and stuff like that.
Right.
But they are literally fighting a holy war within the Vatican against the evil bishops and cardinals. And it's
dark forces.
Yeah, and it's getting really bad.
If you look did you look at the video with the recent the Pope where they have that room in the Vatican and it's like a serpent's head?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean that's crazy. It's a whole room dedicated to the serpent.
You check out a couple of the Vatican videos that are on YouTube. There's one, I can't remember who did it, but they talk about the pine cone on top of the staff that the Pope uses, okay, and what the symbolism is for that, and you'll be amazed. You'll make the connection from that to the reptilian race alone. I guarantee it. The Vatican, the Vatican is in a struggle right now, and the reptilian agenda is one way is to use our religion to control us. Okay. back in the day, you had a couple different religions, but you didn't have religions where you went to a church and prayed to a god. Okay, because back in the day, God created the world we live in. Okay, if you want to go to see your God, and pray to your God, pray to the Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
Okay, because He made the Cathedral of the Pines, the Cathedral of the Oaks, the
Yeah.
sunsets that you see. He didn't build a church and put man in it to worship Him. He built a beautiful world. Okay, but I stress this: this world is not controlled by the Heavenly Father. Okay, in the times of Jesus, when Satan came to Jesus, okay, and Satan wanted to show Jesus his domain and all that, and turned over the keys. Um, Jesus told him, "I know you're the prince of this world, but you are not only just the prince of this world, you are the God of this world." Okay?
Mhm.
For Jesus to say that to Satan, that he is the God of this world, meant to me, the way I interpret that, and the way I think we all should interpret that, is that when we go to church and we pray to God, which God are we praying to?
Yeah. Yeah. Keep it. If it's not in the gospel, if it's not towards Jesus, Yeshua, it's pretty much a lot of people pray. They pretty much make themselves holy as themselves as their own idol, as a god, and that's the wrong way. It's sacrilege. I mean, it's just the
Yep.
truth. You know.
Yep. And the other thing you got to consider too, Tom, is that when we pray to God in a church, and if we don't say our Heavenly Father, or
Mhm.
the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, our heavenly host, or God of heaven, if we don't use that heaven connection, then we're actually giving that God power to
Yeah.
Satan.
Mhm.
That power through prayer is going right to the demonic, right to Satan.
Yeah. Absolutely. A lot of the church I go to is very he's very bold speaking and whatnot. It's great. I love it. But he says a lot of churches around they're pretty much succumbing to the world's terms and kind of living upon doing all these teachings to kind of appease people, stay healthy, stay wealthy, stay blessed. But they don't want to go dig deep down into the gospel, because their word is going to offend this group of people, because the way the country is now, everyone's so split up and divided. You got so many groups. You don't want to offend nobody. You want to keep people coming to your church. Well, where I go, he don't care. He says, my job is not to make friends. My job is to read to you the gospel. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but I'm just reading the truth in the book. And that's
Right.
the sad part, because people get offended like that. They're going to be like, yeah, I don't like it here. I'm going to go somewhere that makes me feel better. It gives me the little warm, gusty feelings,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting to the point, and the reason I bring up the whole church thing and the whole devil and demonic thing is because a lot of the depictions that we have of the demonic and demons can be correlated to how the reptilians look.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people back in the day, in the early days of mankind, didn't have a certain way of describing a race of beings that thwarted over them like a god, um, and made them succumb to their will, through being a lesser achieved being on the planet. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know they didn't have a way of describing, oh, it was a lizard man, or a lizard being, or an alien. They only knew about their god, you know,
Right.
and about the devil, basically. So they're gonna call what they see in a lizard being demonic.
Exactly.
So
And not only that, a lot of these churches, these modern churches, a lot of them over the years have been infiltrated by demonic or satanic underground organizations. And half the people that go to these churches don't even know that their church has been infiltrated, because it's being run from the higher ups from this, organization, and they don't even know that, their kids are getting stuff's happening to their children, when they're not around. And I mean, it goes down really deep and dark. People don't even know how deep it goes.
And Thomas, you and Lori probably know from doing paranormal investigations that when you go into an abandoned church, what's the first thing you usually figure out? It's that there are demons within that church. Churches are a magnet for the demonic. Okay, they're like, it's like ringing a dinner bell. They love to go to church, and they prey on people that go there. Okay,
so people are sinners. They don't feel right. It's like putting blood in a pool of sharks. They're just going to fling to it.
Yep, exactly. And when you're dealing with the reptilian agenda too, you're dealing with the demonic. Okay, let's just face it. Let's call evil what evil is. Okay, the reptilian agenda is to control man, is to make man non-existent anymore. But once they're done with us, what are they going to move on to? That's the thing.
Genetically modified human beings. Then you got the borders being open, so you got fresh meat coming in from Mexico right now. They got it's a free for all. It's a buffet line, perfect buffet line. All these kids are going missing in the borders. No one knows why. They rescued 30-something kids went missing in Ohio. Nobody's talking about that. So
yep. What about this? Have you even heard this one? And I'll put this out there to Brown Dwarf and everybody, and Wendy and all that, and Melissa and David in the chat. Have you heard about the over 30,000 children that are missing in Ukraine?
Wow.
Okay. 30,000. Okay. And it has been brought up through several prominent individuals that I'm not going to name their names because they've got podcasts too, that the possibility of Ukraine being used for the child trafficking location to work out of. I mean, you've got military arms that the United States sent to Ukraine that are showing up in drug dealers' hands south of the border.
Yeah. How are they getting it? How are they getting this? It makes you wonder.
Yeah, exactly. It does. It really does. Hold on. I'm going to get a couple logs for the fire.
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
I'll take you with me.
Brown Dwarf, get a hold of me. I put my email in the chat, Brown Dwarf. You won a hat from last week's giveaway. You're the only person I wasn't able to get a hold of because I don't think you're on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, reach out to me, Thomas Cardos. Instagram, North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project. Or I left my email in the chat. It's tomcardos1@gmail.com. Any way you can reach out to me, Brown Dwarf. I want to ship out this hat to you out in Cali. You can rock it when you're doing your investigations in the Redwoods with the NCCP hat. So enjoy, brother.
Yep, and Brown Dwarf, it's going to be an extra, extra large hat.
No, they're all adjustable hats. They're cool.
Yeah, Brown Dwarf's a cool guy. I like him. He's my buddy.
Yeah,
he's my West Coast connection.
I'd like to have Brown Dwarf on soon too, because he's got a lot of good evidence from footage he's taken over the years. I mean, he goes out in the woods and gets all kinds of crazy stuff out there.
I got Brown Dwarf's back any day. Let me tell you. So.
Absolutely, Brown Dwarf's good people. But so speaking of that, I was going to ask you a question too about off topic. Something I've noticed that kind of goes hand in hand if you recognize this. So people go out, if you notice a lot of encounters happen on the third day where someone's camping out in the middle of nowhere, right? Same thing with a haunted house. Someone moves into a haunted house until the third day. So what's with the third day where they don't start getting why does everything correlate to the third day of activity? Or camping out in the woods and getting, cryptid investigators, encounters. It's weird.
Well, the thing you got to realize whenever you're dealing with the demonic or something evil when it comes to supernatural or paranormal activity is they're going to do things in threes, okay? Because it's a mock of the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, okay?
It's in reverse, like Dennis.
Exactly. So they're going to mock it every chance they get. And they know that basically our strength is going to come from our faith. And I tell people this all the time on my channel, that, it doesn't matter what faith you are, it matters that you stand strong in your faith and you have the heart to go along with it. Okay. Because without that, you're not going to be strong enough in your faith to take on these demonic forces.
Nope.
Okay.
Faith without action is dead.
Exactly. And we've got places like Disney that are making these demonic forces seem very socially acceptable. We got places like Hollywood making movies and having their satanic cults and stuff in Hollywood, to make it look socially cool. Okay, so they can attract the younger people into it.
The whole this to that, all the signs they do, the little sick. That's all the symbolism that they're doing. The Illuminati, it's ridiculous because they've sold their soul to Moloch to be fame and fortune, and they are not. If you notice, a lot of people when they win awards, they thank God, but they don't thank the God. They just thank their God. So they're saying God to kind of be like, all people make them think they're really praying, thanking God, but they're thanking their God is Moloch. Their God is,
they're thanking the God of this world.
Exactly.
The God of this world. They're thanking Satan. Okay. They're thanking the evil in this world is what they're thanking.
All that.
Yep.
And it's sad. The other thing too I wanted to get at was, if you remember, the Garden of Eden, right? Adam and Eve were approached by the serpent. What is this? The serpent is a reptile being. It was walking on two legs, I guess. So that would be your first inclination of a reptilian, in biblical prophecy, going all the way to Adam and Eve. I mean, that's crazy that it goes back that far. The deceiver.
Oh, it goes back. It goes back even further. It goes back even further than that. When you talk about the reptilians and all that, take a look at some of the old outside carvings on a lot of the old India kivas in India. They show a reptilian snake-like waist down and a human upper torso and arms and a face.
I've seen that. Yep.
They show these same things in Egypt. Okay. Half snake, half human, okay, which is a representation. Yeah, it's a representation of a reptilian because they don't know how to describe it. It's like when you think about it, with our people, okay, with our native people, okay, back 2,000 years ago, say they saw a flying saucer and aliens came out and little gray men came out with their big old heads and their big old black eyes, bebopping around, okay? And how are we going to describe them? Well, we're going to describe them as ant people. They look like ants.
Yep.
So we're going to put ant people up on this this cliff wall, and we're going to describe them. We're going to show the little antlers coming out of the head, or whatever you want to call them, the antennas, and we're going to describe them as ant people, okay? Gray aliens. Okay. So, there's so many correlations we could make to a lot of the past. And I almost think that, well, I don't think, I know that the powers that be, the powers that control our world, everybody, control our minds. Just look at MK Ultra, look at some of the, that video I just made like a 2.5-minute video and put it out. And it's about the reptilian agenda. and it shows on there a lot of the CIA stuff that they were doing, experiments with our minds and all that, MK Ultra and several other things. You know, and in fact, I give a list on there. I give a list of viruses on there that were created by the elitist. The viruses that they use to control us and to suppress us and to kind of call the herd, to say, if you know what I mean. So
round them up. You know, this has been going on since, you know, the early days of it. It started big time in the 80s with the thing that started with the A. You know, I'm not going to say the whole thing, but and guess who was in charge of the thing that started with the A in the 80s? The same person that was in charge of the last thing 3 years ago. Same guy, same stuff. I mean, why would they put the same person in charge of something if there was no kind of, and I wouldn't even say just evil agenda back up to it. I mean, it doesn't make sense why they would do that.
Exactly. You know, and you know, as we're sitting here, I'm waiting for something to. I'm waiting for something to fly over, because usually there's a plane that'll fly over, you know, like a little Cessna with no numbers on the tail of it or anything, you know. So again, you can't tell who they are.
Lori mentioned something too. She mentioned a Taylor Swift concert, and if you remember, a couple of years back, they had that. What was some kind of music festival where everybody was under a spell, and it was like a mass suicide at this like a rap concert from a couple of years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
But they said, like, the guy, you know, the person performing was like putting out he was chanting, and people were like in this like, you know, they were like brainwashed in a haze, and nothing. And the same thing happens like with, like you said, MK Ultra with television programs. They put the stuff in commercials. It's all predictive programming through MK Ultra to brainwash people and keep their minds numb, keep them you know, keep them brainwashed to be a consumer. Like if you remember John Carpenter's movie, They Live. They said that was a documentary. It wasn't. They said it was a documentary. Why would they say it was a documentary if it was just a movie? Because they were trying to get the truth out to people that what you're seeing is not really what's there. It's something else.
Yep. Exactly. And you know, to take that one step further is, you know, it's television was actually invented by somebody that worked for the government. Okay. And they had plans from day one to use television, to use it to control people. Okay. You know, and it's not just that either, though. I mean, there's literally everything that we deal with on a daily basis. You know, you all go and you slave away at work. Okay. 50, 60 hours, 70 hours, 80 hours a week in some cases, you know, working 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Where's your money go? It goes back to the 8 or 9 companies that own every commercial good in this world that's manufactured, whether it's food, clothing, utensils, whatever it is, blankets, pillows, you name it. It goes back.
Conglomerate corporate companies that run the world. There's 7, right? There's 7 major companies that own everything. Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, just look at one of them. One of them's CocaCola. Look at what CocaCola has. Coca-Cola owns, I mean, I never knew how much they owned. I've got a breakdown of them in the video I released earlier this week. You know, this weekend. You know, it's amazing the kind of power that they have to control our lives. And then, you know, you have those people, if they're actually real human beings and not reptilian, they're being controlled by the reptilians, which are technically can be classified as demonic. So, you know, we've got that whole demonic thing again. So it's like, you know, we you know, there's just so much going on, and then we wonder why everything's happening the way, you know, everything's heightened. Everything's happened in the last. It's like somebody took the volume control and raised it from a 2 to an 11 plus, on the paranormal meter and supernatural meter, you know?
And even Aussie Sue saying, diseases, they're putting in stuff in foods. I mean, think about how much of the country is obese right now because of all the junk, the monosaccharin, sulfate, nitrates, I wouldn't even call it that, but the corn syrup, everything in there is to make people inflamed, to make them addicted, to keep wanting to do it, and also give them diseases. I mean, the cancer factor, it's crazy that how much it's rise in the last 20 years from what they're putting into food and the GMO stuff. You're putting something in your body that was genetically modified in a factory. It wasn't grown naturally in a farm. It was made in a freaking lab. So, I mean, think about the effects of long-term, consumption over the years, what it's going to do to your body. And then if you try to detox off of it and go to like a natural plant or some kind of healthy, keto diet. I mean, the detox, some people don't even survive that because their body's so used to that. And then you try to switch it over and then boom, like it just throws everything off and go like, into they have, a stroke or whatever, heart attack.
Yep. These powers that be too, Thomas, they know us so well because they've seen us through generations. Okay. And they know, what we're capable of and what we're not capable of. They monitor everything you do. They monitor. They're monitoring us right now. And I noticed they're messing with your audio too. They're messing with my signal.
Speaking of the devil, they got you. You'll be back. Just give it a minute. I'm sure your audio will come back. But yeah, this is the scenario of what happens when you start speaking the truth, putting it out there. They silence you, and we got 47 minutes of good conversation. 47 minutes of good conversation, putting out the truth to the people. I mean, you're going to hear this, and a lot of people are putting this out there. It's just a matter of there's power in numbers, and if more people start putting their hands up and saying enough is enough, I think that's what's going to kind of put a stop to everything. But the problem is people are so complacent and they're so used to just living a certain way that they don't want to rise up and stand up because they're scared. I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose that. I'm getting this I'm getting this every month from whatever. I don't want to lose that. They don't want them to take that away. And it's the same thing that they're trying to do with the whole Agenda 2030 program. Yep. They want to move people out of like where you're living and where I'm living, get them in them 15-minute cities so they can be monitored. And you got a little card with a little account, credit, whatever you want to call it, digital card that they put so much money on. And if you're a good little boy and little girl, you get the little thing every, when they say to get it, you'll get so much, credits put on your little digital token reader. And if you don't do what they want you to do, they're going to take it, your social credit score is going to go to shit. You're not going to be able to watch the internet for, 2 hours a day. And they're going to really screw people over, and I'm really fearful that this is going to happen really soon. And if anything, what you got the EMF pole strikes, you got the brownouts, and you have the something happens to a satellite, wipes out the internet. How are you going to get a hold of no one? Because 90% of the people in this country don't have landlines anymore. Without a landline, you can't call nobody because this is useless right here.
Yep. Yep, and a lot of people don't realize this. All they need to stop an EMP, even if it's something that they want to keep going, like a cell phone or something, just to have the technology device working. All they got to do is stick it inside their microwave and close the door.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, microwaves are EMP proof. Get yourself a roll of duct tape, keep it by your microwave. And if you do get an EMP going off, to knock out the electronics and the computers and stuff and the phones and the electric, then put your stuff in the microwave, tape up around the doors real good with the duct tape and leave it at that. Mm-hmm. So, but that's an old military. Yeah. I mean, that's all you really need. But that and a metal trash can would work too. But that's my survival military background right now kicking in. So, when we're dealing with the reptilians, we're dealing with a race that has been around for a very, very long time, and their bloodlines are so pure that it's almost disgustingly pure. You know, and it's only that kind of a bloodline that you can label evil, because I don't know any religion in the world that says to lay down with your sister, okay, or your first cousin, okay.
To keep the bloodline going. That just doesn't, like you said, there's the reason why you don't do that. And there's, like, defects, there's mental problems, all that. You don't want to, like you said, you lack certain things because of the interbreeding over so many years. It messes with the whole, genetics of the upbringing of people and all that, their brain waves, everything. It just doesn't work right. And it makes them pretty much, a dark person that hates everybody, and they don't care about nothing because that's how they are.
Right. But then again, you have the reptilians that are said to have evolved from dinosaurs, that walk on two legs and all that, and that are more of a species that just wants to be left alone and let the humans live, and they live and just go about their separate ways and do their own thing. You have those type of beings too that are on this planet, okay? But at last count, I think one of the military guys, last count that they had on the reptilian race, is that they pretty much infiltrated every government and every powerful family that there is, and basically the people we answer to. So, it's a battle. It's going to be a battle. We have to stand in our faith. When it comes down to it, our faith is all we have. You
have to be faithful. And I mean, if you think about it, back in the 80s, Phil Schneider tried to tell us this, and they killed him. They pretty much made him commit suicide on himself. With his leg between the bed and on the ground, and the double catheter around his neck, and he lost his life because he was trying to get the truth, because he said he didn't care. He didn't care what they would do to him. He said he loved his country. He loved his patriotism for his country so much that he wanted the people to know that they're being lied to, and that's pretty much bold as you could be.
Yeah, that's like Forstall being throwing himself out of a 4-story window to his death. Or how about the guy, the finance guy that used to work for the Clintons, in their schemes of scams of people. Somehow he miraculously shot himself in the face with a shotgun.
7 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the guy that made not the hydrogen, but the car that ran off of water. What happened to him? Because he disappeared. Once he wanted to come out with a patent, you didn't hear about him no more, because they took his patent and he got wiped off. He got wiped out.
There was 2 guys actually that did that. In 1928, I believe it was. They made a vehicle that ran on water, and the government found out about it, and within a week they were gone. So
Rockefeller owned the oil. He didn't want to lose out on that, on all that money for gas sales. So the insider, they were part of the elitist, agenda. They wiped them out.
Yep, exactly.
Same thing with Tesla. Look at Nikola Tesla. He wanted to give people free energy. What did they do to him? Everything okay? You see choppers or something?
No, I thought I was hearing something.
Well,
I'll check it out. I'm not worried about it, but.
Well, we're almost done anyway, so we got a couple more minutes left. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss? I mean, we pretty much dropped a lot of bombs today. I just
my one saying that I always say is, they think I'm crazy until they find out that I'm right. Okay. And that saying means a lot to me because yes, I may be crazy, from like the military standpoint and stuff like that, but you know, I care more about the human race and humanity to survive, and to not be beaten down by these so-called superior beings. Okay. And some of us out there that have, special abilities, special gifts, enhanced gifts. Um, like I see visions. I've had a couple visions in the last month that I've put out there to people, in the podcasts. And the last one that I had was this weekend, when I was going through all that I was going through. And
you felt something. You felt an evil, didn't you?
yeah, I felt it come through, and it was an evil that I have never felt before. It was powerful. It was such a overwhelming evil sensation that it knocked me off of my feet for 24 hours. I couldn't even move. I mean, my lovely wife Tracy could tell you for verbatim that I didn't move for 24 hours minimum. And those of you that know me know that I drink a lot of coffee because I have to with the cancer thing,
Right.
because it helps me breathe and all that too, from where they did the surgeries. I didn't even have a cup of coffee that day. That's how bad it was.
Damn.
I mean, it was that bad. I didn't even get up for a cup of coffee, and that's not like me. I don't normally do that.
I remember you mentioned it. Somebody you were saying like you weren't fearful, but you're like, man, I don't know. Like I've never felt this bad before. Like I hope this isn't my time. But if it is, I'm ready. But I love you all, and that's pretty much how you left it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean because that's how it felt. It was that oppressive. And when I had that vision, that vision at about 4 o'clock in the morning, Saturday or Sunday morning, I looked at my arm, my right forearm, and I saw in the vision from my wrist all the way up to my elbow were these huge $half blisters that were emitting a red and yellowish pus coming out of the tops. Okay. And it was almost like excessive radiation poisoning, that kind of a blister. So, but they were big. They were the size of quarters and half dollars. So, great. But yeah, and which I take that as basically a threat from what they want to do to me, or how they want to deal with me. But I can also take that vision as maybe it has something to do with their next plan with the the whole V word. I don't want to say it, but it's the 5-letter word, starts with a V. Maybe that's just showing me what can happen with that coming up, and for us to prepare for it. So
yeah,
it's hard.
They're making people register their gardens. That's how bad it's getting. I mean, you can't even have a garden, grow your own vegetables in your backyard without they're trying to get in on that because God forbid whatever they're putting in the vegetables, that who, I'm not going to say his name, but I'm talking about. Started buying the computer guy that bought all the farms now is trying to control all the farm stuff. Well, they're mad because people are growing their own farms and they don't want them doing that because people are making their own clean vegetables. That they're not eating the vegetables that this guy's making with whatever mRNA stuff they're putting, kind of GMO crap they're putting in it. That's making people. It's going to turn people into something else. That's the only way I could think of it. That's That's my opinion. It's going to change
Yep.
people's DNA. It's going to alter your DNA, and it's going to make you. Maybe it's going to make you like a soulless person. You know.
Yep. And to de-stress everybody, just have one of these going and just kind of relax and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about. Getting back to the basics. There's gonna come a time. There's gonna come a time where we're gonna have to start cooking on them again. And most people don't even know how to start a fire. So,
yep. And that and grounding yourself, right? Grounding yourself helps too. Barefoot.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll cover that next time. Yeah, we'll go over a lot more next time, bro. I don't want to delay you and all that. So
you're good. Melissa said they might have hit you with a radiation gun.
Yeah, well, that's true too. But you don't know. You don't know what to expect. Okay. And a lot of people that talk about this stuff, take Richard Bruce, for instance, the one thing him and I have a lot in common is whenever we come out and we talk about this stuff, we have flybys, whether it's airplanes or helicopters. We're followed to and from the store. Just the other day, in fact, I've got video on my phone of a couple guys in a vehicle following us, and the one guy made it very clear. He got out of the SUV, the dark SUV, and showed his gun holster at his gun, by basically moving his hand in his jacket, and looking at me. So I got out of my truck and I showed him my gun. So I mean, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is when you're dealing with somebody like me that's been through the shit, that has died several times. You're not dealing with your everyday Joe. Okay. You're dealing with Billy. Okay. The Billy off of the Predator movie, the first one. Yep. That's who you're dealing with. I'm not afraid of any man. Okay. And as soon as I am afraid, you should be afraid too. Okay. And that's why I put this out to everybody. Everybody needs to realize what's going on. Okay. So it is what it is, guys. You can take it or you can leave it. Take it as advice. You could, my advice and $1 might get you a cup of coffee. But it is what it is. The evil is there, and you can either choose to see it for what it is, or we can stand together and we can fight it together. So
just like he said, a country boy will survive. Hank Williams Jr. No matter what.
You got that right. You got that right. Yep.
All right. Well, I got one quick thing I want to share. I got some pictures I want to share real quick. Get your opinion on them real quick. These are pictures I took when I recently came back from vacation on my property, right? And this was a really nice tree. Well, let me go back. That's not it. That's okay. There you go. Boom. I'm trying to get it. For some reason, when it loaded, it wouldn't load straight. It will load it on an angle. So I have to make it smaller to get it. There we go. Can you see that tree? Does it look?
Oh man, that's awful small on my phone.
I know. When I zoom in on it, it turns sideways. It gets a little cockeyed. So you gotta turn your head. I don't want you to crack your neck on it, But this was a perfectly healthy tree. 50 foot plus tall. Perfectly healthy tree, knocked down,
pushed over. Yeah, looks like it was pushed over. Yeah,
pushed. Yeah, and so there's that. There's a better view of it if you can see that.
Yeah.
And there was actually another. There's actually another tree that's kind of joined off of it. So this is that tree. I mean, this thing is huge. And there's a little valley. You can't see the valley, but this tree covers a little valley on my back property. And This is what I came home to coming back from vacation. This massive tree, double tree pushed over. And then I just started, I looked around the area. I took a couple more pictures. Got a break. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah, I see that. Yeah, it's bent over. Yeah.
Something pulled that thing down. That tree would not bend on its own like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now check this out. This is freaking awesome looking.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking this is a nursery or some kind of nursery area or like a blinding area for like to ambush a deer.
Well, you know, back in the day, we used to funnel deer into a choke point. You know, especially when we hunted on our feet with the bow and the arrow. So you know, if you can find a choke point around that area, then you probably do have the hunting blind type of a thing. The thing that I've noticed a lot too with a lot of the Sasquatch and dogmen sightings and investigations I've done through the years is they teach their young how to do things. Okay. Yeah. And just because you come across something that is smaller in size doesn't necessarily mean it was man-made. Okay. Right. Yep. It could have been the older, more educated Bigfoot teaching the young one how to do things.
Yeah, so maybe the adult, maybe the alpha knocked the big tree over, and then the smaller tree you see could have been done by the younger one. And this is just something that was created as some kind of art piece for the babies. But I did get a track. I don't have a casting set up yet, but right now, this was imprinted on the ground by leaves. And if you look, the next picture, you kind of see my foot flop. It's probably about a 16-inch track. Oh, damn it. I don't know why when you enlarge it, it does that for.
That's okay. That's all right. I see it. Yeah, I see it.
You see it better in person. I mean, pictures don't do this stuff any justice whatsoever. But I'm going to unshare my screen now because, I just want to get everybody's opinion on that. You know, that's pretty cool stuff to come home to from vacation. No, I can't get it off. Let's see. Stop screen. There we go.
All right.
Well, I thank you, Brother William. I do pray for you, and I'm going to post up your GoFundMe on my personal page and in my group. And if anybody can help out, I'm sure you'd be much appreciated because, like I said, this is not normal for all this bad luck to happen. I mean, you don't deserve it.
Yeah, this is definitely not normal. What I'm dealing with, and some of the forces that I'm dealing against, and that I'm speaking out against, definitely have it out for us. And when I say us, I mean humanity as a whole, but me indirectly as the bullseye.
You're speaking against what they're trying to do. You're trying to enlighten people so they can see what's going on, and they don't like that because they want everybody to be under that trance, that spell, that whatever brainwash function people are being put under. So they just you're a consumer, you're numb, you don't want to oppose nothing. It's kind of like the Matrix. I mean, the red pill or the blue pill. You want to take the blue pill and stay in your little comfortable world, or you want to take the red pill and fight for what's right and see what's really going on. So I mean, it's really comes to that. I think that's a documentary too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the red pill, blue pill thing is definitely real, because they try to dumbify us up with fluoride and all this other stuff, even sugar, the purification process in sugar dumbifies you up, that's been proven. So
I started doing monk fruit. I stopped sugar and I take monk fruit in my coffee now as a sweetener. And I've noticed a big drastic change. I've lost, I wouldn't say lost weight, but in areas where I had some buildup of inflammation here and there from taking sugar so much. And I've cut down on soda. Take there's certain natural drink additives you can put to your water, which is good for you as well, which I've been doing. I've noticed a good change in with energy and health and just not being worn out as much at the end of the day. So, I mean, I feel great,
Right. Exactly, exactly, and that's how you should feel. One of the best things I want to try to do too is I want to try to make this oil. Um, it's kind of like an old biblical type of an oil, where you use myrrh and frankincense and
Mhm.
cinnamon and stuff, and you
Mhm.
make an oil out of it to use to rub on your muscles and stuff and to help you heal. Um, it's something that they used back in the old days of the
Right.
Bible, the Old Testament, and I've really been researching it a lot lately. And there's that, and there's other things too that actually, I mean, if you take the Bible and you actually read the Bible, it's literally a survival manual. So
Yeah, it is. It pretty much is. It's a way of life. I mean, it's not like it's not trying to give you a set of rules to tell you what to do. It's to give you guidelines to live in the light and stay out of the darkness and to stay in that and to live in that and spread. I mean, it's all about spreading love. Um, love
yep.
and light and loving your neighbor as yourself. That's like the main thing was the teaching was loving your neighbor as yourself. But I'm going to let you go. I see it's getting dark out there, and I do thank you again for coming on tonight, Brother Nighthawk.
Not a
And maybe
problem,
one
man.
Friday, I'd like to try to join you, Carlito, and Dennis on a Friday sometime in the future. As long as I can
Sounds
stay
good to
up,
me.
as long as I can keep my ass up late enough, I'll be out there. So,
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me, brother. You take care.
all right, much
Love
love, brother.
everybody. All
Good
right.
night, everybody.
Good night.
Okay, everybody. Thanks again for tonight, and I appreciate you coming on, checking out the podcast with Brother William Nighthawk. If anybody can help out, again, I'm going to post his link in my Facebook group and my personal Thomas Curtis account as well, and I'll try to contribute something as well as myself because William's a great guy. And also, this coming Saturday, I'm going to be speaking at the Squatch Fest in Burnsville, North Carolina, which is I think it's $15 a ticket. It's this Saturday from 9 to 7, and that's Burnsville, North Carolina. I'm going to post the links up in the group as well for that if anybody's interested. I'll have maybe a couple T-shirts to sell and a couple hats left that I have from a small order I did. Nothing serious. I'm not trying to make money. I'm just getting a table and I'm speaking there and I'll be there. So if anybody's interested, I'll see y'all there next Saturday. And then Monday, I will have my friend Shell Kaoki, and she's going to be doing some cryptid pictures and encounters with us, and she's going to share some of the stuff she's caught over the years. Dog man, alien, Bigfoot, whatever she has, she's going to share with us. So I'm looking forward to that. So y'all have a great night. God bless, and remember, the truth is out there.